Okay. Yeah. All the best, Vijetha, and thank you.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Thank you.
Yeah, KP sir, I'm making you host, and please
Yeah.
continue the session.
Yeah, Miss Vijetha.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Well, so going by the your DF2,
Yes,
so
sir.
there are certain basic information that you have given in the DAF.
Yes, sir.
So there may be probable questions about your state and other education background and other things. So regarding Karnataka, suppose since you are from Karnataka, they may ask you about the anti-defection law.
Okay. Yes, sir.
And
So do you mind if I take notes?
Yes.
Do you mind if I take notes, sir? If I note down?
Notes.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yes,
Sure.
Vijetha, you please make it too.
I
Okay.
will share the notes along with various things that I will discuss today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will send you the WhatsApp. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, fine. So just focus on the topics that I am insisting on to.
Yes, sir.
And secondly, since you are from Karnataka, they may ask you about free transportation to women in the public transport.
Yes, sir.
So how this the social implications of the women free transportation to the women in the public transport, and how it is how this program is also influencing various other states also.
Okay.
Because states like Telangana. So in
Yes, sir.
Telangana, similar to the Karnataka model, they have introduced this idea of free transportation to the women.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is where a probable question may be asked about. And regarding another dimension is about how this software industry is working in the state.
Yes, sir.
The performance of the software industry and other things, right?
Okay,
And
sir.
going by this, your education background, they may ask, they cover the interview, almost 70% of your interview will be based on the education background only.
Okay, sir.
So since you have done your LLB,
Yes, sir.
they may ask you several questions about the legal reforms, the criminal law amendment reforms that
Yes,
were
sir.
recently introduced. Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Bill and
Yes, sir.
various in that. And similarly, the Indian Evidence Act, Bharatiya Sakshi.
Yes, sir.
So there may be possible questions about that. And at the same time, they may also ask you about Section 106
Okay.
of
Yes.
Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Bill.
Yes, sir.
This is a kind of
Death by negligence and the
yes.
road accidents, hit and
So
runs.
what kind of punishments that may be imposed and why these truck drivers are opposing this section.
Yes, sir.
So they may intentionally ask you a question like, does the truck drivers intentionally wanted to commit the accident and escape
Okay.
the
Yes.
lower punishment?
Yes, sir.
That may be a probable question. And suppose if I ask you a question like, lawyers can do anything to win the cases, including that they say truth also. So usually lawyers are claimed to have only talking about they lie for anything. But
Yes,
there is
sir.
also a possibility that they will also speak the truth to win the cases.
Yes, sir.
So how you build an answer on that? So that may be a possible area that you have to look into. And similarly, there may be a possible aspect related to the NALSAR,
Yes, sir.
National Legal Services Authority.
Yes, sir.
And who are the people that can be offered free legal aid?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Free legal aid system. And apart from that, how this legal profession, law profession is connected with the, what is called as corporatization. Law profession in relation to corporatization.
Okay,
How
sir.
corporate sector is using the lawyers and how lawyers can contribute to the poor people, the contribution of the lawyers to the poor people. And there may be, since you are a female candidate, there may be a question about feminization of judiciary.
Okay,
It's
sir.
too much in the news in the recent times
Yes.
because for two reasons. One reason is one of the Chief Justice of Supreme Court, N.V. Ramana, has proposed for the 50% reservation to the women in the High Courts and the Supreme Court for the judicial positions. That is one
Okay.
reason. And the second reason is Fatima Bibi, one of the first
Yes, sir.
female Justice of Supreme Court,
Yes, sir.
died. So even her death also has brought forward the situation whereby the demand for the women reservation in the judiciary was also claimed. So this
Yes.
possible areas related to the feminization of Indian judiciary is maybe probably they may ask you a question about that.
Okay. Yes, sir.
You're also supposed to remember certain factual elements regarding Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita 2023.
Yes.
Like there are 160 sections of the old laws will be changed. 9 new sections are to be added. 9 new sections are to be repealed. So
Okay.
because the CRPC Criminal Procedure Code 233 sections were there.
Yes, sir.
So 533 sections will be replaced with the new Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, in the IPC also there were 511 sections,
Right. Yes, sir.
which will be renamed as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita.
Yes, sir.
So it is going to have 350 sections only instead of 511 sections.
Okay.
So these structural elements, factual elements should be remembered. Suppose how many they may just ask you to point the things, and at
Yes.
that moment, being a lawyer, you should not hesitate to answer such questions.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So
I'll
those
make note of it.
structural elements, and similarly, as I told you, they may ask you like what is the minimum and maximum punishment for the hit and run cases under the section 106.
Yes, sir.
106 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita.
Yes, sir.
So minimum punishment, minimum imprisonment is 5 years.
Yes, sir.
If the in the hit and run case, if the driver has informed the local police station or the magistrate,
Yes, sir.
maximum punishment is 10 years imprisonment. If the hit and run, in the case the driver has escaped without informing or making this the accident to join in the hospital.
Yes, sir.
So it is ranging between anywhere between 5 years imprisonment to 10 years imprisonment, which is being opposed by these truck drivers.
Yes, sir.
So actually, the punishment under the IPC section 304A in the Indian Penal Code was only 2 years imprisonment.
Yes, sir.
So now it is increased to 5 to 10 years in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. And there was also an exemption provision in the Motor Vehicles Act of 1988
Okay. Yes, sir.
under section 134.
Yes, sir.
So the exemption provision is that the driver need not secure medical treatment for the injured in case of an accident if there is a mob fury that may attack the driver.
Yes, sir.
So because in the Indian society, there is a very common tendency among the people that if some accident takes place in a rural area, suppose,
Yes,
then
sir.
the mob will attack the driver without understanding whether who is actually responsible for the incident. So keeping this social implication in view, the Indian Motor Vehicles Act
Yes,
1980 has made an exemption, but even this exemption is not applicable in the section 106 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita.
Okay.
So that is one area. And another possibility of asking you a question would be about they may just ask you about what is zero FIR. A simple question like what is meant by zero FIR. So this Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita for the first time has introduced the zero FIR. Usually when a case, you have to file a case. If you have to file a case, the case has to be filed in the concerned police station jurisdiction,
Yes.
concerned jurisdiction of the police station. But in the zero FIR, you can file the case from any police station in the country.
Okay.
And at the same time, there was also a proposal for the e-FIRs, electronic FIRs. You can file the cases from even online process also.
Okay.
And there is another first thing that was introduced is the National Forensic Science University.
Yes, sir.
So this, because in the present system of the criminal legislation, criminal law system,
Yes, sir.
there is no adequate availability of the forensics team
Yes, sir.
if any crime happens. So this new legislation has made it compulsion to establish a National Forensic Science Laboratory at the national level initially, and over a
Yes.
period of next 5 years, state level also, at the state level, in every state also, forensic
Yes.
science universities will be established.
Okay.
And as a result, after 5 years, every year, 33,000, minimum 33,000 forensic science professionals will be generated from these universities.
Okay.
So for the first time, what this law has made it compulsion that a forensic science professional team must visit the scene of offense. Must visit the
Okay.
scene of offense.
Yes, sir.
So that is one area that may be focusing on. So because of these are the three things introduced for the first time: zero FIR, EFIR, Forensic Science University, and the need for compulsory visit of the forensic team to the scene of offense. So this
Okay.
is the first thing that happened to be introduced in this through this aspect. And similarly, there may be a possible question about the Uniform Civil Code.
Yes, sir.
So which is related to your legal profession as well as the current issue.
Yes, sir.
So because Uttarakhand has introduced this Uniform Civil Code for the first time. So a fundamental question like what is meant by Uniform Civil Code? There may be a probable question on those lines. What is meant by Uniform Civil Code? And similarly, there is another fundamental aspect like what is the difference between Uniform Civil Code and Common Civil Code?
Okay.
So usually the ruling party is talking about, the government is talking about the Uniform Civil Code. But this is being taken into the society by the opposition parties as Common Civil Code.
Okay, sir.
So the difference is in the Uniform Civil Code, several legislation, several provisions will be introduced that are without personally intruding into the practices, civil practices.
Okay.
So something like, suppose Muslim marriage system, Uniform
Yes.
Civil Code introduces prohibits the bigamy or polygamy.
Yes, sir.
But the procedure of the marriage is not common. Every community can take up their procedure of marriage according to their communal or religious beliefs.
Yes, sir.
But the legal procedure is common for all, uniform for all. So
Okay.
necessary exemptions will be given according to the community related or religious related beliefs
Yes, sir.
in the Uniform Civil Code.
Yes, sir.
Whereas what is being a narrative created by the opposition is Common Civil Code, saying that every personal affair will be intervened by the government.
Yes, sir.
So that is a common element without any exemptions. Without any exemptions, if you create a Uniform Civil Code, that would be described as a Common Civil Code.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So that is one aspect. Similarly, there is another possibility of asking you a question like difference between Uniform Civil Code in Goa
Okay.
and the newly introduced the Uniform Civil Code in Uttarakhand.
Yes, sir.
So that is the Goan Civil Code is called as the Napoleon Code.
Okay.
So that was presented during the Portuguese rule.
Yes, sir.
So it is the first Uniform Civil Code introduced after the what you call independence.
Yes, sir.
Then there is also a provision for the provision for the intervention into the government intervention into the live-in relationships.
Yes, sir.
So there may be a question like whether can the government interfere in this personal affair of live-in relationship?
Yes, sir.
So why the government wanted to interfere in this? So the reason should be like what the government is saying is about the live-in relationship intervention is that the live-in relationship, if it is as long as it is confined to the civil living together, that will not be a problem. But sometimes it is also resulting in the criminal act.
Yes, sir.
So the people who are involved in the live-in relation are killing each other, are committing the domestic violence against each other. So
Yes.
to prevent that possibilities of criminal action, there is a tendency among there is a tendency on part of the government to interfere in this,
Yes, sir.
in the live-in relationships, by regulating the live-in relationship. So, second aspect is if there is a child born, if a child is born for the couple involved in the live-in relationship, so
Yes.
name has to be given as a parental name. That
Yes,
should
sir.
also be made clear. So the
Yes, sir.
child, because of this live-in relationship, should not become an orphan.
Okay. Yes,
Therefore,
sir.
so far there was no such incidents as children born to the live-in relationship people. And if they enter into a marital relationship, then only the children will be considered to be legitimate. So on all these grounds, there may be a possible question about the Uniform Civil Code.
Okay. Yes, sir.
And similarly, the government is also insisting upon alternative litigation solution to the litigation.
Okay.
So therefore, there may be a possible question about what is the difference between intermediation,
Okay.
is meant by the intermediations,
Yes, sir.
mediation.
Yes, sir.
So such things maybe there may be a focus on that as well, because and another area related to the legal practice would be about the 106th Amendment. There may be asked you,
Yes.
since you are a female aspirant,
Yes.
maybe a question about the 106th Amendment. And so this probable question would be like, do you really think that reservation to the women in the legislations is required?
Yes, sir.
Where you have to have some kind of factual information with you about
Okay.
the present representation of women in the parliament.
Okay.
In the last 3 to 4 Lok Sabha periods, how the representation of women is existing.
Yes, sir.
So that would
So,
be one area of asking the question. And so another possible area, they may ask you about the Mediation Act of 2023. So a new
yes,
law
sir.
was enacted in 2023 known as the Mediation. So which is enacted to promote mediation as a means of dispute resolution,
Yes, sir.
an alternative dispute resolution mechanism. So there are generally 3 types of alternative dispute resolutions, right? Like a conciliation, arbitration, and mediation.
Yes, sir.
So those 3 types of dispute resolution, you should know the fundamental meaning. And this new legislation is intended to reduce the burden on the courts.
Yes, sir.
So that may be a focus, because this is directly having a connection with the courts. They may ask you about this.
Okay. Yes, sir.
And another area would be, since we are talking about the burden on the courts, they may ask you about the pendency of the cases.
Yes, sir.
So around 4 crores 70 lakhs cases are pending across various courts in the country.
Yes, sir.
Out of which around 70,000 cases are pending in front of the Supreme Court only.
Yes, sir.
So recently, Supreme Court Chief Justice Chandrachud has made a proposal for the decentralization of the Supreme Court also.
Yes, sir.
So actually, the judiciary, the Supreme Court has always been against the proposal of the decentralization of Supreme Court. The proposal which was pending since 2009, for the first time in 2009, the National Law Commission has made a proposal for the establishment of regional Supreme Courts, apart from the existing Delhi Supreme Court. 4
Yes.
regional Supreme Courts are proposed to be established in Hyderabad, then Bombay, Calcutta, and one more in Delhi.
Yes, sir.
So totally, there will be 5 Supreme Courts.
Yes, sir.
So the existing Supreme Court will be dealing with only the federal disputes and constitutional disputes. Regional Supreme Courts will be dealing with the what we call the civil cases and the criminal cases.
Yes, sir.
So they resolve the civil and criminal cases at the regional level itself.
Yes, sir.
So when in 2009 it was proposed by the Law Commission, the Supreme Court has turned down this proposal because according to the Constitution, if there is a possibility of establishing the benches of the Supreme Court, but to establish a bench of the Supreme Court, President has the power to establish in consultation with the Chief Justice.
Okay.
So it is not like Chief Justice establishing in the permission of the President, but in reverse. President
Okay.
established in consultation with the Chief Justice. So Chief Justice has several times rejected this proposal. The grounds of rejection is it will affect the integrated character of the judiciary.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So because Indian judiciary is characterized by independent and integrated judiciary.
Yes,
So the
sir.
integrated nature, whereby all the courts in the country will have to follow the Article 127, which is about the court of record. The judgments given by the Supreme Court are binding on all the lower courts.
Yes, sir.
So that will create an integrated judicial system. Similar legal system is being established.
Okay.
So therefore, the judiciary has been opposing it. But for the first time in 2023, Justice Chandrachud has batted in favor of establishing the regional courts, regional Supreme Courts. So there may be a question about on those lines also, because
Okay.
for a lawyer.
Yes, sir.
And another area that you may think about would be about CAA is again coming into the news.
Yes, sir.
Citizenship Amendment Act.
Yes, sir.
Why it is coming into the news is because the government has almost decided to implement the provisions of the CAA.
Yes, sir.
So because of the opposition from various sections in the country, the implementation has been suspended for a few years. Now the government is again decided to execute it.
Yes, sir.
So that will be another possible question about, you just have to know the fundamental principles in the CAA. So from 3 countries, I think you know about the 3 countries from where,
Yes, sir.
like Bangladesh.
Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And the religious communities, the minority religious communities in these 3 countries, if they are religiously persecuted and if they have migrated to India before 2014 or December, be given, what you call the citizenship of India.
Yes, sir.
Then they ask you why the Muslims should not be given the citizenship of India from these 3. So what you should say is it is an inclusive act, not an exclusion act. You should refer this word called inclusive act.
Okay.
This is the key word, because it is not rejecting the Muslims to deny them any citizenship of India. If the Muslims from these 3 countries visits India, they have to take the citizenship of India according to the Article 5 to 11 and other provisions of the Constitution of the Indian Citizenship Act, but not under the Citizenship Amendment Act. So the Muslims are not denied. It is not excluding the Muslims from these 3 countries to provide the citizenship.
Yes, sir.
So that is one area you should remember. And similarly, another areas where you have to focus would be like Competition Amendment Act.
Okay.
So Competition Amendment Act of 2023. So which has imposed certain penalties for the breach of healthy competition among the organizations.
Okay.
Competition Commission of India.
Yes, sir.
And related aspects you should remember.
Yes, sir.
So all the various legislations that was enacted by the government during the last 1 year, including Anup Baranwal case.
Yes,
the
sir.
Supreme Court Anup Baranwal case, in which Supreme Court has given a judgment regarding the appointment of the CEC,
Yes,
Chief
sir.
Commissioner and other commissioner system, and how the government has reacted in response to the judgment by enacting a new legislation.
Yes, sir.
In 2023 December, the government has enacted CEC and other election commissioners Appointment Act, and how the selection committee will choose this persons to be appointed as the CSE and other commissioners.
Yes, sir.
The difference between the high power committee suggested by the Supreme Court and selection committee enacted by the government, Parliament.
Yes, sir.
And similarly, Supreme Court judgment in the article regarding the Article 370.
Yes, sir.
So whereby it was suggested by the Supreme Court to give the statehood to the Jammu Kashmir as soon as possible, and to conduct the elections to the legislature before September 2024.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So these are the possible areas where the interviewer can ask you certain questions.
So with regard to the Kaveri issue between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, sir, so I'm not understanding how to approach that. In some mocks, I was asked what is the solution. And because Karnataka is also suffering from drought recently. So
Right.
how to answer that, sir?
So if there is a question about this Kaveri river water dispute, the dispute should be decided, the governments involved
Yes, sir.
should follow the judgments and the decisions given by the tribunal.
Yes, sir.
So you should not, there is no need for bringing the politics into this.
Okay.
So because water has always been a matter of emotion in India, not just a physical thing.
Okay.
An emotional connectivity is always there for the people to the water. They consider the water as equal to the God, and
Yes,
they
sir.
pray the water. They pray the river waters. So there are also not merely sharing of river water. Any award in the tribunal should consider even these emotions as well.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it is not merely a matter of rules and regulation, not merely a matter of awards given by the tribunals, and not merely a matter of laws enacted. There is also a need for some thinking beyond the rationality. Thinking beyond the rationality, considering the emotions of the people as well, is necessary.
Okay. Yes, sir.
And similarly, regarding Karnataka, the possibility of question would be regarding this elephant population.
Okay.
So how the elephant population is declining in the state.
Okay, sir.
So any other question that you have?
Sir, I had another question with regard to Karnataka and Maharashtra border disputes, sir. So in that also, I'm not understanding how to answer how this should be resolved.
So to resolve this border dispute, only the Supreme Court has to decide it.
Okay.
If there is a conflict between the two states regarding sharing of borders, because if it is a matter of river water, the river water disputes are resolved by the tribunals.
Yes, sir.
But border disputes are to be resolved by the Supreme Court.
Okay. So, and also, sir, with regard to the issue of delimitation, sir. So, because of lessening number of MPs and representation from the southern states, so what can be a solution for that, sir? Even in this case, so the delimitation happens in 2026, and we would have lesser number of MPs. So, what is the way ahead for this? So
delimitation.
Yes, sir.
In Karnataka.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So there is a proposal for the delimitation.
Yes, sir.
That should be decided by according to Article 329. Because under Article 329, there is a possibility of constituting a commission for the delimitation of the constituencies.
Yes,
And
sir.
the decisions of which will be final actually. It cannot be challenged in the court also.
Yes, sir.
So as decided by the delimitation commission, the decisions have to be taken.
Okay.
Sir, actually, sorry for the interruption. The question might be, southern states may have less representation due to recent change, population issues. That was the question from your side, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is it your question, Vijetha?
Yes, sir. My question was that because of
Yeah, they will have
yeah.
less representation in the parliament because
Yeah,
of the recent changes that were brought by delimitation commission. That is the question, sir. How to answer that question? That
right.
was statement because southern states performed well in reducing, and I mean performed well in terms of population control, right? So they have less representation in parliament. That was how to answer that question. That was our questions.
So if that is the question, the possibilities of answering is like you should talk from the perspective of national integration only. So there is no question of differentiating between the South India and the North India
Okay.
regarding the representation of the MLAs or MPs in the parliament. So the delimitation commission should also take this particular aspect into consideration before 2026, because 2026 is the time limit for extending the number of constituencies.
Yes.
So then there will be a possible appointment of the delimitation commission, and that delimitation commission should also consider this population aspect as well. So during the last few years, several laws have been amended, several new laws have been enacted to be in line with the administration, to be in line with the existing contemporary societal conditions and political conditions. Similarly, Delimitation Act can also be made to give the representation, adequate representation to the South Indian states,
Okay.
so that the South Indian states shall not feel to be injustice.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So accordingly, this aspect should also be considered.
Yes, sir. Sir, there was a counter question on this, sir. So they had asked in some transcripts in the interview, sir, that should big states like UP be subdivided into smaller states so that each state can have equal number of representation? Or should we go for US model where each state will have same number of seats in the Lok Sabha?
Yeah. So you can say that more decentralization may be necessary. There is nothing wrong if you talk in favor of the decentralization.
Yes, sir.
So already Mayawati government has actually proposed for dividing Uttar Pradesh into 4 more states apart from the existing Uttarakhand in
Okay.
2011
Yes.
only.
Yes, sir.
So taking that aspect into consideration, the big states can be made into smaller states further. And for that matter, then there may be a possible another supplementary question like, can Karnataka should also be divided into more states?
Yes,
So
sir.
you can say that, yes, there is nothing wrong if Karnataka is also divided into South Karnataka, North Karnataka,
Yes, sir.
based on the given requirements of the decentralization.
Okay.
So suppose for a country like America, where there is 40 crore population, there are 50 states.
Yes, sir.
For a country like Germany, where 8 crores population is there, and they have 16 states. So why not India can have up to 50 states when there is 140 crore population is there in the country? It will bring the administration more closer to the people.
Yes,
Creation
sir.
of more number of states will bring the administration more closer to the people. Smaller states are also the symbol of the development and growth.
Okay.
And given the present situation where every state is growing and getting more developed because of the central government contributions also, centrally sponsored schemes as well,
Yes.
more development can be achieved with the ease of doing business conditions created by the union government.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is all I had said also.
So I will share some areas of contemporary significance to your WhatsApp.
Okay, sir.
Yeah?
So thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
It was helpful. Thank you, sir.
Nikhil అనేవాళ్ళు ఎవరు వచ్చి
He's part of our team, sir. He's Lucky Rohi. He is actually arranging all the mocks.
అంటే క్లోజ్ చేద్దాం అయితే మళ్ళీ అక్కడ క్లాస్కి వెళ్ళాలి.
Good evening, sir. This is Khushi from Lucky Sir's team.
Yeah.
Shall I let the next candidate in?
Yes, actually, how many candidates do we have now?
We are expecting 3. We are confirmed 3, and the 4th and 5th one are confirming if they'll be able to join. Since they are working professionals, there might be a possibility they won't be able to join, but 3 are confirmed.
Yeah, actually, SR has class at 5 o'clock. Is there any possibility of
No
bringing
problem. We'll have this candidate first. If there's time for us to have another candidate, we'll conduct it. Otherwise, we'll have it tomorrow, if that is okay.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow, if possible, start little earlier by 2:30 p.m. We can connect with the 4 or 5 students. Today's students who are missed, and we tomorrow sir may not be having class also. Sir, tomorrow you will have class, sir, tomorrow.
Sure, sir.